Hey, this is Andrew Bukowsky with Muscle Insider, and I'm here with Jim McMahon, CEO of Fit Foods, brands like Mutant, PVL, North Coast Naturals, Whey Gourmet. How are you doing today?
Dude, I need more coffee. Even though it's Friday as we record this, this has been a pretty uh, hectic but fun week. I mean, if you're if your life is boring, I don't know how to do it any other way than to be hectic. So I'll take the hectic as my point.
I like it. Good, good. Yeah, there's been a little bit of news happening lately with the Fit Foods team, right?
Just a little bit of news, yeah. I mean, it's kind of public as of a few days ago, so I think it's okay for us to talk about it. And yeah, there's a few incorrect rumors out there that we sold the business or something like that. And I go, that's not right. I took
Yeah,
on an investor, everybody, is what happened. So let's make sure we're getting this straight.
that's right.
So yeah, um, I'm not exactly 40 anymore. So when you get to be this age, you start to go, hey, what are you going to go do with this entity that you've had a lot of help getting it built and all that stuff. And so um, yeah, I was very fortunate. Found an investor that wanted to help out on the long-term journey that we're still on. Um, I also discovered the last couple of years I didn't want to sell. Uh,
Yeah.
I like golf. Not very good at it, and turns out I really don't like chasing that little white ball all over the freaking place as much as I thought I might. So screw that. And I actually love what I do. I mean, not every day is a joy, of course, but you've seen me enough at some of the bodybuilding shows, like the Arnold is coming up, right? So
Yeah.
it's fun to go to the shows and hang out with everybody. And I say to Dusty and Ron and Andrea Shaw and Sean Clarita and now Sergio Oliva Jr. and Lola and Kat, like we got to meet. We got so many people on the team, and they hold me accountable. And I might go out and not eat as clean as I know I should, but knowing I got to see everybody in a few weeks in Columbus at the Arnold's, that keeps me pretty accountable. Because I used to be a power lifter back in the day, so
Yeah.
way back when you'd have a target date.
Hmm.
And bodybuilders and all athletes know that you competition day and you work your schedule towards that date. I don't have competitions per se anymore. So I'm like, it's the self accountability thing. I'm not as good at it as hardcore bodybuilders and other hardcore athletes are.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit I need a help once in a while. And so that's why I still like doing this in part as well.
Of course, yeah. And I think like you said, the biggest part of that is that you love what you do and it shows, right? Like the energy you have whenever anybody sees you at these events, you're not the guy that's just hiding back behind the desk or in the office kind of thing. You're front and center, right?
I genuinely do like that, and not everything goes scripted. Like for example, last year at Columbus, Mitch Hooper, world's strongest man, three-time defending, reigning Arnold Classic Strongman champion, and he had won last year. And so Sunday morning, we had a PR thing happening. We had NBC News local come, and we had a setup in the booth. I didn't know I was doing that until like the day before. Like we had a PR person, lovely lady, and she had this thing all organized and she had it all timed with Mitch. Somebody forgot to tell the boss
Oh man.
that we had to go do this. So I'm in front of, a few people, we'll say, a couple dozen people, because we did it inside our booth. We couldn't get the main stage. And here's your microphone. There's NBC local news, and here's the world's strongest man, Mitch, and we're doing our thing. And I'm like, okay, um, let's go, because that's just what you do in life. That's how it goes. It's no different than when I was powerlifting. You're stepping out of that squat rack, and that bar is on your back, and it's go time. Like you only have one thought, and it's not will I do this? It's like motherfucker, let's go do this.
I think that also goes to show, like I said, you're not the guy sitting behind the scenes, you're front and center, you're dialed in, you're a part of every part of the business and interacting with all of the athletes as they go. So if it is something that's put on the spot, it's not like you don't know what to talk about with Mitchell. So
Yeah.
because you're in it every day, right?
Yeah, there's that, and like you said, to be in it, like. we're fortunate enough, like at the Olympia, for example, obviously we're one of the top sponsors for that event. I'm very proud to do that. And it's pretty genuine. And so like backstage, like before you go on stage and present trophies, there's a backstage handler, lovely lady, and she'll text me and say, "Hey Jim, you need to be back here in like a couple of minutes." And, yeah, okay, no worries. And so you always time it that way. Well, last year at the Olympia, of course, we were presenting on Friday night, so we always try to make sure that we're presenting for the Women's Open Bodybuilding Championship. So the six-time champ now, Andrea Shaw. So I get an absolute kick out of being able to present that first place, and thankfully, six times in a row she's won. Sean Clarita, again, we get to present in the men's 212, so that's an absolute thrill to be there as well. I remember a couple of years ago, Flex Wheeler was backstage with me, and he taps me on the knee. He says, "Don't worry, Sean's got this one." I mean, Flex. I'm sitting there with Flex Wheeler for crying out loud. Which, I
Yeah.
mean, for bodybuilding people, you go, "That's just cool right there." And he taps Jimmy, "Don't worry, Sean's got this one." So that's pretty cool. But last year, Lola Montez, she was on fire, and
Oh
so I
yeah.
so I broke backstage. I wasn't scheduled to be there or anything like there. And Talene, the backstage handler, she said, "What are you doing here?" I said, Lola's on stage. And she goes, "Okay, come on back," like stuff like that. So I'm genuinely excited.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like backstage, Clarita, he's sitting back there, he's chill, he's laying back. He's just chill. Me, I'm freaking out,
Yes.
on behalf of them. Or Andrea, she's getting ready, she's out there, she's pumping up in the warm-up area. She looks pretty chill, and she'll come up and just have a chat with me. I'm like I don't want to break their chi.
Yeah.
They got to stay in the moment, stay cool. But yeah, it's as you can tell, I'm still a fan.
Well,
I
and that shows, and I'm the same. Like that's why we're here and why we still go to these shows as well. It's like I'm a fan of bodybuilding, and otherwise I wouldn't do this.
look at the world we're in right now. I mean, I won't go too far on a few areas, but let's just say it's not as calm as a place it used to be, maybe.
Mhm.
We'll just go there for a multitude of reasons. Not one reason, not two reasons, not three reasons, not four reasons, not even 50 reasons. There's hundreds and hundreds of reasons. Anyways, the people are challenged right now. There's just too much distraction. I grew up with three channels on television. There was no Netflix. There was no YouTube. We used to have to go on a rotary dial phone to call people. You didn't have this glued to your melon all the frickin' time. I don't know how anybody does it these days without having the strong mental ability to filter out bullshit.
Yes.
And there's just too much coming at people, and not enough people on the planet have a good BS meter
Mhm.
in their heads, and they're just over inundated. So what I love about bodybuilding and all sports is focus. You have an appointed time to go to the gym. You have an appointed time to go to practice. You have an appointed time to eat. Having a schedule is awesome. It's
Yes.
not a burden. It actually allows your mind to calm the hell down and actually do something that makes you feel good. Because yes, there's the pain of the workout, but then there's the pride of you did it.
Yeah.
And that's what so many people don't get these days by not going. I'm not saying you have to go to the gym and be a bodybuilder. I've never said that. I go, whatever you're into is what you're into. But why do we do what we do? Because I'm pissed off at the planet that there's so many dirt bags in so many areas making us miserable because they're being greedy, making us addicted to whatever you're watching or not watching. Um, but sport and bodybuilding, the super simplistic aspects of that are so gratifying to the melon.
Yeah.
And that's a big chunk of why we do what we do. And I've been fairly consistent on that message for over 30 years. I may have said it many different ways, but that is the consistent, persistent, unwavering, go fuck yourselves. I ain't going to change my fucking tune for nobody. That's just the way it is, people. So that's why we love bodybuilding, because it's demonstrable where, hey, you show up, you just put up the weight, and you feel damn proud after you've done the workout, and you do feel damn proud when you're out and about. And it's the camaraderie.
Yeah, definitely.
That's that's why we love the shows, because when else do you get to run into like-minded people as often as that?
Mhm.
You know, in your everyday life, you're in a supermarket and probably 94% of the people out there think you're weird. Like, why do you got to go to the gym so much? How come you got to eat all this protein? How come you got to do this? Why don't you be normal? Why don't you relax? Screw
Yeah.
that.
Oh
So
yeah.
the Arnolds and the Olympias and the Phoebos and shows like that, it gives us the opportunity to be in our community, if you will, our community of fellow iron heads, if you will. Like, so
Yeah.
that's why we do what we do. Because I just don't know how to live any other way.
Yeah.
You
And
gotta go
that's the
gotta
best
go
thing.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to kind of where we started this, you know, you guys are coming up on 30-year anniversary of Fit Foods.
Good Lord.
It's always been just you, right? Kind of like the brand. What what led you to looking for a an investor at this stage of the game? Is was there something that shifted, or like what led you
Oh,
to look at this now?
you want the dirty gossip thing that so many people I hate train wreck TV, so there's no dirty gossip thing. The cold hard unfortunate fact of life is this. You're gonna die one day.
Mhm.
Okay? So we're all gonna be dead one day. Everybody hear that? It's just gonna happen physiologically speaking. This body won't be here. All right. So
Yeah.
armed with that fact, what are you going to do? So there's almost always the same three options to any business owner as they go through this life. And that is you're either going to die at the helm, you're going to die being the boss. Well, that's not good when you got 200 coworkers.
Yeah.
That's not fair to them. If I just drop dead one day and don't have some kind of plan or strategy for continuation. So that's a little rude and obnoxious as a business owner to not have a plan for your people. There's also not a plan for my family. That's not fair to them. So, A, that option is not available. I'm not going to die at the helm. That's just stupid. Okay. Uh, Number two, you could have an inheritance. So my son, he loves skateboarding. He loves other things. This is not his jam. No worries. So what's your third option? Your third option is to sell. So what I learned was I don't want to sell. And I like this. So the simple way to do this was, okay, well, as I get older, which by the way, everybody, that's also the other unfortunate fact of life, you all will get older. So if you're not taking all your creatine, your collagen, and your magnesium and your fish oil, everybody get on those things, by the way. And no, I don't sell all of that.
I keep mine on hand at all times.
Exactly. But so taking on an investor allows me to do the best of both worlds. So if all of a sudden I get hit by a bus, everybody, all the 200 coworkers here are safe. There's an action plan there. There's no stress on my family. That's pretty important, obviously. And yeah, it's just a continuation plan. And if my body and my brain break down when I'm 80 or 85 or 90 or 95 or 100 or 105 or maybe even 120, who knows what we're going to accomplish on this planet. Well, then I probably won't be doing this, but by that time we'll have an action plan anyways. And listen, I got 200 helpers here. I don't do this all on my own. Like Arnold says, no person is self-made. You need help. And so, yeah, well, I think we're pretty well there. So for us, it was a fairly simple thing. We took on an investor, and that way I could ease the stress. I don't have to gamble my house every day of my life like I've done it for the last 30 years. Any of you want to get into your own business and make it big, comes with a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I know in that press release that came out that you wanted to solidify really is that you're still staying on as CEO and all the employees that are currently working, they're all going to continue working for you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I know some people might not think of those kind of things. Obviously, those are things that are pretty high on my list. And so, uh, I've joked with a lot of good friends about Lamborghinis and things like that. And so to my friends that may have Lambos and whatnot, I don't mean to insult you. That's not where I'm going. But I've already got a pretty, good life. I like my Dodge Ram pickup. I slept in it for 3 straight days during the floods of BC back in 2021, I think it was. So I'm kind of partial to having a truck on the highway. Hey, if you need to, you got to end up sleeping in it for 3 days. That's better than a Lexus, a Mercedes, or any other thing like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all joking aside, I just don't have that kind of thing in my body where I like showing up. Like I hear, I'm working today. It's Friday. Some people think I shouldn't, or I don't have to work. And I go, well, why would I not want to show up?
Mhm.
It's the same thing with like showing up to the gym. Yeah, I'm not as consistent as like a lot of our athletes are, but I'm still in the gym 4 days a week. I'm still giving her. I still, get the shirt wet when I need to and all that kind of stuff. There's some grunting going on. There's a little pain. There was a lot of pain
So
yesterday. The back work. I didn't have a lot of energy yesterday. The back workout sucked yesterday, but you
yeah,
got through it, right?
that's right. And honestly, that's one thing that I think, when you work with people that are even just getting started out is like, know that we all have bad days, and some days it's just you're getting
Totally.
through the workout just to get it done. And then that's going to lead to those great days. So,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So yeah, and that's how you persevere in anything, whether it's business, school, family, relationships, marriage, all of that stuff. You got to persevere, and you got
mhm.
to. I had somebody write a really good business book, and they invited me to be one of the chapters. It was many chapters, don't so, but the business advice I get asked a lot is, and I always give pretty much the same answer, and it all stems from athletics, it all stems from bodybuilding, is you got to have a vision,
Mhm.
you got to have a goal. So whether it's a contest or you're trying to drop 10 pounds of goo before you go on your vacation, whatever your goal is, well, motherfuckers, shut up about everything else and focus on your goal.
Yeah,
And I think that's where a lot of people get dragged wrong, this work-life balance and things like that. I go, yeah, you want balance. But when the moments happen, screw balance. Like if your family's in front of you, it's freaking family time. If the barbell's in front of you, hey, it's go time in the gym, right?
yeah,
And when that meal's in front of you, it's meal time. So be in those moments.
yeah.
Don't worry about trying to balance everything 24/7. That's just patently wrong in my books and most people's books because you end up frustrating yourself. You end up selling yourself short in all areas by trying to be balanced. So don't sell yourself short anywhere. Be all in every area in those moments, and that's awesome. And that's the other thing. You're in business. I'm in business. A lot of people in business. Whether you're a business of one or 200 doesn't matter. Um, make sure your partner understands what you're doing in the
Yeah.
business.
Yep.
So my wife and I, we've been able to survive that way as well. Like we made the pinky swear back in 1996 when we started Fit Foods. And we talk about the pinky swear openly and honestly, and that's how we did it. Didn't mean everything was perfect. We fight.
Of course.
What do you mean you didn't take out the garbage? Damn it!
Yeah. No, and I think, like you said, it goes back to vision with everything. I think if you have that clear vision, when decisions have to be made, it's easy to sort of measure that. Like, does this fit my vision or does this contradict it? And, it's not always as black and white, but, you know,
And not everybody will see your vision, right? And
hmm
that and that's you see your vision. You're committed to it, and but not everybody else will see it, and that's okay. Don't be frustrated because very few other people will see your vision until it's right in front of them.
yeah,
So don't worry about whether they see it or not. But what you do want to have, especially with family uh, and your best friends, you want to have that pinky swear with them and say, listen, I'm going to be super focused on this. I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. I said, listen, I'm uber focused on what I got to get through over the next 3 days. I'm if you ask me for anything, I'm going to pre-apologize. They're going to be an asshole probably. And that's just because I am super focused. And all the competitive bodybuilders out there, especially, when they're dieting, come on, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, you need that tunnel vision, and that's okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So thinking of the investor, one of the things I was going to ask you is like, what
You're
was it
back to
about
the
Westcap?
investor thing. Thanks. Well, I
I know, like
appreciate that.
it's big for me. This is news. You've never had an investor before. Like,
Ah,
what was it about Westcap that, made them the group that you wanted to work with?
yeah, because there's quite a few groups that approached us, obviously. I'll just tell you one quick story, and maybe it demonstrates, what ended up happening. So we had a number of offers, plain and simple, and you go through them and you find out what you really care about. And so if I wanted to squeeze out the ultimate dollar, I, there were some offers that were more money. But here's one of the war stories. One of the parties that did make a real sizable offer, by the way, has since gone bankrupt.
Wow.
So what would have happened to the 200 people here? What would have happened to the 2,000 retailers across Canada? What would have happened to our nearly 100 distributors around the world? What would have happened to Ron and Dusty, Andrea and Sean Clarita,
Mm.
Cass, Lola, Mitchell Hooper, all the athletes? What would happen? And so I'm not saying I'm a great person, far from it in that aspect, but there's an okay balance there. And I go, listen, I got my Dodge Ram pickup. I'm pretty thankful for what I've got. I can afford to eat where I want to eat. Um, what more do you need? Sorry, I don't, I'm not a jet flying son of a gun. That's not my jam. And so I genuinely love what I do. And so yeah, some of the other offers they were just wrong. They just weren't a fit. Because I don't want my life to be hell. I got partners now. Hell, I've had it my own way for 30 years. I got to do whatever the hell I wanted for 30 years. How stupid am I now that I got people I got to answer to because I got partners. I never had partners before.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you have uh, a set of partners that have some kind of alignment to your belief system. And
Yes.
I think as most people kind of hear this or have heard me talk before, um, empathy is a pretty high thing with me. I like to like when I'm in business discussions, even I'm not trying to ram down my customers' throat my way, my promo, my thing is me, 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 me. Yes, most of my customers, I'm usually listening after I've done my talking or vice versa. But usually the listening is where I go more than anything else. And I'll say my piece and then I'll see how they respond. And because I'm always looking for win-win.
Mhm.
And as much as I try to tell people that and show people that, and I go, that's actually one of my other bigger whys as well in business. I go, I don't like business the way it's traditionally done. You get somebody who's at the top and then they piss on everybody below them,
Yep.
or they're an egomaniac or whatever. And so part of my thing in this lifetime is to prove you don't have to do it that way. You can actually use the universal rule of reciprocity, meaning you give first,
Mhm.
and the universe will tend to give back. It's not perfect. It doesn't always go that way. I get that. But I'll bet on that bet more often than anything else. And usually it works out for us pretty well. Not
Yeah.
perfectly all the time, but our batting average is better than anybody else in Major League Baseball. So there you go.
Nice. Now, how involved will Westcap be strategically? Are they just more growth capital, or are they going to be involved in operational things as well?
Uh, from what I know so far about Westcap, and again, I've known them for a number of months, almost a year now. Um, yeah, I mean, they don't like, I don't want to speak for them because that would be incorrect of me, but they're not coming in here to run the company.
Yeah.
That's not what they do. They're from Western Canada, so there's those unspoken like-minded ideals right there. whatever that means to anybody who's listening. Okay, whatever. I'm not anti everywhere else on the planet. I'm just saying, hey, when you're dealing with locals, it's just there's a more comfortable zone you're in.
Yeah.
So all being from Western Canada, my dad, grew up in Winnipeg. Mom's from Edmonton. I'm out here on Vancouver on the West Coast, and West Caps in the other province, right in amongst all that, is out in Saskatchewan. So, and yeah, so yeah, that's it's really just an investor group when you get right down to it, of like-minded people.
Okay. Now, like a partnership like this, what do you feel this is allowing you or will allow you to do in, say, the next 3 to 5 years with the business?
Well, the first thing it allows me to do personally is, like I half jokingly said, it does take a little stress off the table. Like when COVID hit, go back to that time, most business people, weren't we gambled everything in our life to build a business. And then during COVID, mm, you're pretty much out of business temporarily, is what happened. And so everything that you built, is it all gone? Are all these jobs gone? That was not fun. That was pretty
Hmm.
screwed up time. And we were no different. Anyway, so coming through that, you go, okay, well, if you ever get the chance to not have all of your eggs in one basket and everything's at risk and everything's mortgaged to the frickin' hilt. And I am 60 now. So you get to this stage in life where you think maybe your mortgages are almost paid off or something like that. And that's the hope and the dream. So yeah, for me personally, it was just you could take a little bit of this stress off the table. But what that really does is it frees up the mind even more. So I didn't know how cluttered the mind could be with the stresses until the stresses are gone.
Yeah.
And so it's now that some of those personal stresses are just not there as much, at least, I get the ability to focus even more on what I love. And what I love, again, is kind of this industry, the bodybuilding. Uh, like last year when Mitchell Hooper calls me up and we had a conversation about some contests, and then the guys from Giants Live called me up, Darren, and then we came up with the Mutant World Deadlift Championships over in England, and that all came about very last minute. But it also came about because I just love this, and it's not that we had the money to pull it off. No, it was calculated risk, and it didn't go off perfectly as the lead up. I mean, Mitchell got injured. That wasn't part of the plan. And then it took a couple of days later, and then Thor announced, "Yeah, I'll be there." So, oh, okay, that's cool. So yeah, the contest is looking great again. And then about a month before the event in Britain, Thor's over in Germany, and he broke the world record for the deadlift in Germany. I go, whoa, hey, that's great, but
Yeah.
what about the show? The show is supposed to be the great fanfare if anybody's going to pull the world record. And here's Thor pulling the world record a month earlier. We're like, how's this going to go? And anyways, it all worked out great. But it wouldn't have happened, or at least the mutants' participation in this wouldn't have happened. And getting Thor a check for $100,000,
Yeah.
that part wouldn't have happened had I not had a love for what we do. And so
Yeah.
when we've had the opportunity to step up, like we do for the Arnolds, and like we do for the Olympia, and like we do for FIBO in Germany, which will be in Cologne, Germany again this year. I love that show. Um,
Yeah.
you you asked me if it makes economic sense to do all of that. It actually doesn't. It doesn't make economic sense to do it. And some people say, "Oh, we have to get your name out there, and it does all this advertising." I go, "Yeah, but let me show you the bills." And yeah, it just makes no economic sense. But we do it because I have been doing this for 30 plus years. I love this stuff. And again, this really real, this camaraderie of the iron. And it's deep in a lot of us on this planet. So that's why we do it this way. I don't think we're ever going to be a $1 billion brand. I've never
Mhm.
said anything like that. That's chasing the dollar has never been the almighty goal for us. And I'm thankful for all the dollars or any dollars that we do here, obviously. But our jam is just to stick with what we're really freaking good at. And, we make great tasting powders. We have a 200,000 square foot facility. And so what's going to change in 5 to 6 years? Not much. I mean, we'll get bigger.
Yeah,
That's the idea. And what we want to do is keep taking our message, our industry's message, the camaraderie of the iron message out there. Like, for example, I'm thankful that in mainstream media, people are talking about creatine more than ever now,
yeah,
which is phenomenal. Uh, Thankfully, creatine can be made. So the supply chain on the creatine is not as bad as some other ingredients that right now can't be made. And I'm talking obviously
yeah,
about whey protein, which has to predominantly come from cows right now. So so yeah, there's challenges in all of this. And what we want to do is make sure that our core audience has access to the ingredients that we've all had for 30 plus years, and that the new audiences understand the quality differences out there. And there are
yeah,
massive, there's there as much as there's challenges right now on the supplement part of the industry, there's also um, there's also details out there that a lot of our brothers and sisters in the iron game need to understand and take some faith in. But there's also a lot of things going on with some of the food items that are using protein that I think a lot of consumers aren't aware. There's a lot of products that are having some inferiority aspects. It's not the
yeah.
same as what you get from the quality of whole meat or undenatured whey. I mean, we can go into that if you want to later or now. It doesn't matter to me. But these are topics that are, I think, important for consumers and in the industry and in retailers and distributors to understand because there's so much going on out there. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought years ago you could walk into a big brand coffee shop and have a hot foam full of protein going on in there.
Yeah.
So that these there's a lot of new things. Some of them are cool, some of them are nice, some of them are convenient to have. And but some of them are not what people think they are.
Yeah. Well, talking about whey, I know you've been pretty vocal on your socials about things you're working on in the whey world. Is there anything that you have update wise that we can talk about, or is that still in the
Well,
works?
I actually haven't been that vocal the last little while because I had to get this investment deal done. So yeah, I feel like I've been pretty quiet actually on social media. But when I do pop up once in a while, yeah, I usually got a few things to say. Well, listen, without sounding like an advertisement, um, I think what's important to understand is let people understand that what's kind of going on. So let's just talk about whey protein itself, and let's not commingle whey with all the other proteins
Yeah,
because
yeah.
whey is a very specific set of circumstances right now in the world stage. So if you use whey protein, fantastic. If not, don't worry about it. As long as you're eating well, that's what we care more about. So we've never tried to push a product down everybody's throat and say you must have. So no, we just make options. That's the way we do things. That's why we've got more than one brand because I don't try to dictate to anybody. Oh, you got to eat plant protein. Oh, you got to have whey protein. Oh, you have to have protein powder in the first place. I go, hey, it doesn't matter to me what you're doing as long as you're getting off the couch and getting your ass into the game. That's more important.
Mhm.
Anyways, when it comes to the protein powders and whey protein being so popular, fantastic. Our industry and our culture has enjoyed something, and I don't think they've quite recognized what it is until lately, because the whey protein prices have just gone up and up and up. So there's a lot of reasons why, and there's been a lot of social media people out there talking about some of the reasons, and I go, yeah, a lot of those reasons are correct, but there's more than meets the eye as well. And so, of course, you've got a greater segment of the population that never thought about protein before is now thinking about protein. Of course, you've got what 30 or 40% of Americans, for example, are on some kind of GLP-1 drug to various degrees, so Wegovy, Ozempic, and so on and so forth. And of course, when you go on those drugs, your appetite just gets crushed right down, and yeah, you lose weight, but you're also losing your metabolic engine, which is the muscle. So protein intake is so low, that's their problem. And so now doctors are recommending to patients, hey, you need protein. Hey, you need protein. Hey, you need protein. So protein shakes, of course, is a simple intake system for people who just have no hunger. Because if
Yeah.
you're on a GLP-1 drug, you just really don't have much hunger at all, this seems. Anyways, so you've got a whole crowd of people rushing into protein for that reason. Of course, you got new dietary guidelines from the US FDA. Got to up your protein as well. You know, now they're finally talking about shutting down the overconsumption of starches and sugars. I won't say carbs
Yeah.
because let's not make carbs the villain here, everybody.
That's right.
Let's make hyper processed carbs, the villain, especially if you're already overweight. If you're
Yeah.
already overweight, just put down the bread and the pasta, everybody, please. And, eat as much broccoli as you want and watermelon as you want. I'm fine with that. That's a good idea. Anyways, so you have protein consumption at skyrocketing rates from new consumers that had never bought protein shakes before.
Yeah.
So we already all know that. So whey protein obviously has been a luxury item, if you think about it, but it's been an affordable luxury item. Okay, it works. Whey protein as a quality protein source. It's got a higher EAA, essential amino acid content, than most other proteins, even higher than beef. Uh, it digests really well. It's got a PDCAAS, the PDCAS, protein digestibility corrected amino acid score of a perfect 1.0. So there's a lot of reasons to love whey. And now it's going to be luxury priced.
Yeah.
So now the convenience factor for those of us who've been buying protein shakes for so long, that's going to pretty much leave the building. Now, not 100% of the consumers are going to stop. 100% of the whey protein consumers, not 100% of them are going to leave their whey protein because it is still a high quality product, but it's going to open up more possibilities. But I want to talk about some of the problems that are existing. So in the food area. So I was walking down a Walmart in Palm Springs, California, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
My dad's a snowbird down there, so go visit him. And I took 2.5 hours purposely to go walk a Walmart in the United States because I wanted to see for myself how big is the protein overload in food going on. So us being as vertically integrated as we are, because again, 30 years of doing this, you've got relationships that just you know, small new brands just will never have.
Yeah.
And we've got this manufacturing machine, 200,000 square feet. So we have scales of economy to not just get ingredients, but to drug test them, do the heavy metal testing, do all the testing you'd want to make sure that we're doing this direct and we're the manufacturer direct. So we have a really great set of circumstances for consumers around the world. When we go down the food aisle, I'm looking at all these protein foods, protein macaroni, of course, there's bars, um, but there's so many things. Protein yogurt is one that stands out, and I don't think a lot of people have talked about that. I haven't heard anybody on TikTok even mention it. So here you go, TikTokers. Here's a free one for you. So in addition to large coffee chains now offering hot foam, because that was a huge volume suck of material.
Yeah.
That volume alone sucked out whey protein at a rate we haven't seen ever.
Yeah.
I'll come back to the hot protein because there's a problem with that as well, by the way. Second to the hot protein and all that stuff, the hot whey, I should say, is over there in the yogurt aisle. So all those yogurts with the added protein and everything in there. Looks great, right? Hey, I see protein on the label. Oh, look at that. Hey, it's got 18 grams of protein. Oh, I want to buy that. Fantastic. And then good on you. Nothing wrong with that. However, it's not the same thing as what's in our can of whey protein in our industry. And remember, the whey protein in our industry is a cold process. And what that means is it's more in its native state. It's very undenatured. Like whey protein is made up of various multiple peptides. So there's immunoglobulins, there's glycomacropeptides, there's alpha lactalbumin, there's beta lactalbumin. Um, and when you heat all that, or you make it into an acid-based whey format, both processes are hyper-processing it, and it's negative. You're denaturing, you're creating new protein folds that are unnatural. They're not absorbable typically by the human body. And so that's typically what you got to watch out for. So the yogurt is an acid-based product. It's an acid whey when you get right down to it, if they're adding whey protein. So it's not the same thing that you would get in a whey protein shake, especially the powder, because the powders aren't that hyper processed like that. They're not acid-based. Okay. I hate to say it, but in some of the whey proteins that are marketed as clear, they are acidified. Whether they're adding the acid, like citric acid at the time of manufacturing, that's different than acid whey. And so the ones I'm talking about, they have a challenge for human digestibility. And there's studies on this. There's a 2021 study that talks about this. There's other studies you can find. You can go Google this and you'll find this. So the acid whey as an ingredient is not as good as the typical whey protein in a whey protein powder, in a whey protein shake. So I need people to understand that, so that yes, that's benefits those of us who want our whey protein, but also the new consumer who doesn't know this information. Okay, just be mindful that 18 gram or whatever the number is on a yogurt isn't as good as the 18 grams you'll get in the protein shake.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, that's just the cold hard truth. Same thing with the hot foam. So the hot foam, again, to make it heat stable, they actually physically have to denature the ingredient. So the ingredient going into these hot foam things at some of these coffee shops, uh, traditionally it's a heat stable whey protein product. And again, it's denatured then. As soon as you take the heat and you create these new protein folds that are unrecognizable typically by the human body to be absorbed, it's a challenge. And so the empirical data is there. That is not identical to the whey protein powder that you get with your typical vanilla or chocolate protein powder. It's just not.
Well, and I mean, it kind of, I think back, what was it, 3, 4 years, maybe even longer, that there was at least one brand that was coming out with a hot protein, like it was a powder that you could add into your coffee or hot chocolate and those kind of things, and it wouldn't curdle, and it's the same kind of thing, right? Because and that didn't last very long because I guess people realized that it's not the same thing, right?
Okay, so we're a manufacturer, don't forget, we're a co-packer. And I won't name the brand. It's not ours. We used to
Mhm.
contract manufacture for them. We discovered them at a trade show and man, this stuff's amazing. And so it was a coffee protein. Stuff tasted phenomenal. And the thing with whey protein in particular is when you put it in hot water, it'll curdle.
Mhm.
Okay, so you'll see this looks like cottage cheese floating on top of your drink. It looks not good to me. And of course, it doesn't taste that good because you're also releasing more of the sulfur compound. Again, if you go look at some of the chat boards when they complain about the taste on some of these hot protein coffees at the coffee shops, that's because there's sulfur being released when the amino acids get heated up. So some of the aminos have high sulfur content. Too much science, I know. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyways, we made the coffee protein 2009 for this other brand, and yeah, the only way to do it is you had to get the heat stable whey. um some of the producers of the ingredient like to say, oh, it's a premium ingredient. I go, bullshit. It's a more expensive ingredient, but it ain't
Yeah.
premium because it's denatured in large parts.
Hmm.
So yeah, you need to denature the whey in order to use it in a hot format.
Yeah.
That's just science 101 right there. Anyway, so keep going to your local favorite coffee chain and keep getting the hot foam whey protein if you want. And again, I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying it's not the same as what's in a can of protein powder. They are two different whey proteins.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't need the whole
So
coffee
now,
industry. Hey, I buy coffee. I got a coffee card. Don't anybody get mad at me, okay? So,
um, with the other thing with this investment is you've talked about this being able to accelerate the next phase of kind of operations. What do you envision that meaning, at least in the short term here?
but the some of the projects we had already started. So there's multiple types of projects. So one, you can always go look at your capital project, meaning the structure. So we got um, robots. Now,
Mhm.
our robots aren't here to take over the human jobs. And so if anybody's heard me ever talk about this, I got a pretty staunch stance on this. And so it's actually our team, our coworkers that come up with the ideas and they go, listen, we got this one job over here. Everybody hates doing that job. Could we get a robot to do that job? And that's actually how we got the first robot, which I think you and quite a few people have seen it. And it's a packaging robot and it handles three lanes all at once. And it was actually the inline production workers that wanted that actual machine. And so since then, we've got three more a grand total of three robots so far that do their thing. And no humans lose their job. And what it does, it makes us more efficient so that we can put out more product per shift. And actually, our workers actually make more per hour now. So that's how we treat technology. The same thing with AI. Um, AI can do a lot of great things. Um, if you don't give it guardrails, it's going to do some bad things. So we spend a lot of money on guardrails on the AI. And so we're limiting it on where we're going to use it so far because we still want to learn more about it. And again, it's not there to replace the human job. And quite the opposite. You ask any of my teammates, and you'll know the speech that I give them. I said the technology is there for you to harness it. It's for you to be the boss
Yeah.
and to accelerate what you're able to do or allow you to expand the volume of what you do without you losing your freaking mind. So we always talk about technology in the term of you got to harness technology. So those are the capital things that we're doing on that side. Then again, over and above that as well, then you've got actual things about growth. And so you can grow a couple of different ways. One way is you keep marketing and expanding your marketing on your current products. And the other way is, of course, you create more products. You can expand your geographical footprint. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go do it. So, um, yeah, there are two main things is we're looking at how do you expand what you do in the capital investment, meaning your infrastructure, and then how do you expand revenue in various other ways. And again, we're doing it all under the simple thing of we just want to help consumers. I'm a consumer. Like every product we make, I'll take.
Yeah.
And I say I'll take it. I don't need mutant mass myself anymore. Okay. At 60, I don't need the one once in a while when you just want a little guilty pleasure and you want all the extra carbs. Num, 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 num. You
Yeah.
know, our common friend Scott Welcher, he would often tell me, he said, Jim, I don't think everybody quite understands that mutant mass is a hell of a recovery product. I go, I know, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
got all the
that's right.
carbs in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be doing expansion on both aspects. So
Yeah.
and with the mindset uh, of what we stand for. So Fit Foods as the company, we're not all buttoned down in corporate. This is what I wear. I mean, I go to the boardroom meetings, I'm looking like this, and people, what the heck? I go, deal with it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm a busy guy. I got my sweatpants on, and I think today is shoulder day in about 3 hours. So
Yeah.
that's just how we roll here. But we all do it. We have 5 words that we live by at Fit Foods, and this is our vision for what we do. This is why we get up in the morning. This is what we fight for, and it gets worded a little different for each one of the brands. So for those of you who like Mutant, don't be pissed off at these calm 5 words I'm about to use. But the 5 words that Fit Foods uses is it's happier lives through healthier living. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Of course, at Mutant, we do it a little more hardcore, and PVL does it with more of a sport angle, and North Coast
Yeah.
Naturals, more that West Coast natural, holistic way of looking at things. But that's the core message because
Yeah.
we know that when you get off your butt and you go to the gym or go to the track or walk a hill or do whatever you got to do to get that oxygen flowing and you activate the mind. You get a dopamine hit, everybody. Yeah, you don't need to be on this all the time to get your dopamine hit. Your dopamine hit comes from struggle
Yes.
in the pursuit, the struggle in the gym, the struggle on the hill. If you're struggling, you'll be happier because there's
Yeah.
pride. You're just proud that you just did it. Now, there's a lot of us who go, well, duh, Jim, that's obvious. Yeah, great. That's awesome. There's a lot of people who don't know it's that obvious. And
That's right.
so we want to step up. And that's why some people might not get bodybuilding. Like I said earlier, they might look at a bodybuilder in a grocery store. Ew, they look weird. Ew, I don't like all those veins. Ew, 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 ew. I go, you're missing the point, everybody.
Yeah.
That person's got a goal. That person's got some discipline. That person has vision.
Yeah.
And you would be well better off in your own life there, not to judge, but to emulate. You don't have to do what exactly they do, but take the principles of vision and discipline and getting off your ass and go get your dopamine hit in something from a positive pursuit. Sorry, I didn't mean to have.
And when I think of that on a scale of the people that you have around you, and I'm not talking about just the internal people, but the ones that we see as these hardcore athletes, the Andrea, the Sean Clarita, Mitchell Hooper, Sergio coming on now, and but even on the PVL side, you've got Shy Ross, something like that. These are all like elite level athletes. Some of them are as hardcore as you could ever imagine, but at the heart of things, they're good people. Like, and I gotta say, like, it still amazes me every day that you have created this team, this roster of incredibly talented, good-hearted people that excel at their sport, their field. Most brands would just be elated to have even one of those people on their team. But I look at the roster that you've helped bring together, and I don't know, it's something to be proud of. I'd have to think.
It, I think it is too, and like to be able to work with all the people you mentioned and then some. Like I go to Ron bought the local gym.
Yeah,
So out here on West Coast of British Columbia and Canada, so there's the gym that's just like it's 500 meters, 500 yards away from us or whatever. And Ron and a couple of his friends, they took over the gym. And the landlord kept asking me for years to take over the gym every time it's sold. And sadly, the previous owner of the gym did pass away. And so there was the opportunity, and the landlord, for which seemed like the fourth or fifth time, called me and asked, listen, I don't want to be a gym owner. I'm too busy doing what I do. And then Ron said that him and his guys were going to do it. I said, that's a hell of an idea. Do it, man. Anyway, so you go over to the gym there, and you see Kellen Wilson over there. You see Ditto, Steve Didishak, who's a partner in the gym as well. And you go to West Coast Iron. Oh my Lord. I mean, it takes me back to when I was 18, 19, 20,
Yeah.
21, and when I was more hardcore. And you just get off on that vibe and you want it. You're
Yeah.
thirsty
Yeah.
for it. And I just, again, for those people who are already into that vibe, they go, okay, I guess that's cool. They're 99.9% of the people on the planet don't know that vibe at all.
That's right. Yeah.
And I go, man, you are missing out. You are so missing out. But I'm not sure what the original question was there. But
Well,
yeah,
about
I get
the
going.
just about that you guys have created such a
Oh yeah,
team of amazing people, but they're
it's the like-mindedness is I guess where I wanted to go to is we didn't do it for the business reasons that a lot of brands back in the day would
yeah,
do. We we did. I mean, you want to get your name out there, and of course, you bring on athletes. Um, we had Ronaldo Gary, Darren Toma. These are Canadian guys. We in actually ran into the Tominator the other day at West Coast
yeah,
Iron.
yeah.
I hadn't seen Darren forever. He was in some of our original ads. And so yeah, we get off on that. But again, it's what you do consistently that counts, not just the things
Mhm.
that happen once in a while. And so if something bad happens once in a while or something great happens once in a while, those are the once in a while things. The consistency thing is we give a shit. We really do care. Uh, so I use all the products, like I said, but the athletes, everybody came on board. Everybody's here now, especially. They came on board because of that like-minded camaraderie thing.
Yeah.
Um, there's a few athletes that we did talk with, and two of them are probably some of the biggest names in the bodybuilding sport in the men's open class, and it just never came to be.
Mhm.
And then part of that was, do you have an alignment or don't you?
Yeah,
And so for us, there in those two particular cases, uh, I thought there was going to be some degree of alignment and that we could make it better. And as it turned out, there wasn't enough alignment to begin with. So it was just
yeah.
better not to do anything with those two people. Nothing against them. It's just,
That's right.
we're doing our thing over here. So like the first time when I got to meet Sean Clarito, we were doing a Mutant Mansion shoot. We're out there in Vegas, not too far from Flex Lewis's gym. And we had booth boss George. He had found us a 12-room uh, Airbnb thing. And so, yeah, we had the Giant was there, Andrea was there, Dusty and Ron, of course, were there. Of course, wherever Mutant goes, there's Dusty and Ron, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and there's Clarita, and we're weeks out from the Olympia. And so this house had like two giant wings, if you will, to it. So we were all just filming and everything and having a blast in this one wing, and you walk in there, and there's Clarita, that laser focus. He's dieted right down. And yeah, it was hard you didn't want to disturb Sean in
Mhm.
those weeks. He was hardcore dieting on that show. But the camaraderie is what brings us all together. And
For sure. Yeah.
you can't have 12 of us in a house for 4 days like we did if not everybody was kind of getting along, or at least we have a common thread of being like-minded. And we just had a blast. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some, if you get to I mean, Jamie was super dieting for his contest, and I think it was either Friday or Saturday night. Milos and Jamie were on the phone, and Milos said, "Yeah, yeah, you can have a cheat meal." It was pizza. It was pizza time. It was on like Donkey Kong, and we had the cameras going there, and so yeah, the Pizza Gate 101 and Pizza Gate 202 started happening, and there's talking. Oh, we had Jamie had never experienced the whole thought process. You got to check the undercarriage of the pizza to make sure the
Oh my God.
undercarriage is all going. And Andrea Shaw's killing herself in the corner. And then we get into the whole pineapple on the pizza warfare. And of course,
Oh yeah.
everybody's out to kill me because I love pineapple on my pizza. I'm like, give me more pineapple, give me more enzymes, I'm good. But that's the camaraderie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That that's some Arnold and Franco stuff from the 70s right then and there, as far as I'm concerned.
And something that always stands out about the mutant and of course PBL athletes that are working booths or they're doing meet and greets, I find too many brands these days bring on athletes and they're there just to go through the process. But I tell you, when you come to the booths for you guys and you're a fan just meeting an athlete, like nothing will stand out more than every time I see Andrea at a booth, I would think every person that comes up to talk to her is her best friend.
Yeah.
She is just
Yeah.
so genuine. And I feel that goes for pretty much all of the athletes that are on your team. Like when they're there doing meet and greets, they're all in. Like that's like you said, you're in those moments, right? When they're
Eh,
working with the booth,
Yeah, it's
they are there for the fans.
no question. And the honest aspect of that is we're all human too. And imagine standing on your like Ron and Dusty in particular, but all of them. But those two, I mean, they're out there, they're wearing the Converse, they won't put in inserts in their shoes, and they're standing there for like 6, 7 hours sometimes. And you're having the same type of conversation over and over, like every 5 minutes is somebody new, and you're almost having the exact same conversation. Um, and yeah, they're so generous, and you
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I don't want to. You're right. I'll just shut up. You're right about some others, and at our place, there's a generosity factor. I was on the treadmill the other day, and I put it on in like an 8 degree incline because I had to go slow so I could talk. And I was actually on the phone with Andrea. So I got the headphones on, and I'm being one of those, you know, bad people in the treadmill area. I'm like, oh, I'm talking on the phone, you idiot. What are you doing? Anyways, but I had the headphones on, and I'm talking with six-time Ms. Olympia Andrea Shaw. So everybody else, suck it up. Um, and we were just talking, and I said, hey, Andrea. So we're talking about the booth experience and other things like that, and we were just rapping and getting into it, and inevitably, almost all the conversations that I get to have with Andrea, Mitchell, Sean Clarita, anybody. Um, we tap into the why we do this because those hours at an event. I mean, yes, it's nice to fly to Vegas. Yes, it's nice to fly to Columbus. Yes, I said that, by the way. Uh, but it's a privilege. It honestly is a privilege to be at these shows.
Yeah.
And you have to walk in there humble and hungry and thankful, and that gives you the generosity. And I don't think any of our athletes exude anything less than that. And yes, we're all human, and there's times where you're just tired. You don't have that next conversation in you, but there's somebody there, and this is probably their one and only chance to talk with Andrea Shaw
Yeah. Yeah.
or Sean Clarita or anybody who's there. And the team understands that. But they also know I'm there to help block them for them. Like Andrea had a funny incident when she just won the Olympia, and so it's Friday night. We're in the foyer at the event, and there's her and her mom and a couple of friends, and I'm watching Andrea, and she's struggling with the bags, and so here I am. I do what must be done. So I grab some of Andrea's bags, and of course, her trying to get through the foyer at the Olympia, next to impossible. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. And I just basically started handling part of the crowd a little bit, just trying to get her through. And people understand, people appreciate that. Hey, Andrea or Sean, they got things to go do, and you can't hold them up. And and Andrea wants to stay there and talk with everybody. I mean, she really does. It feeds her quite large, by the way. But yeah, it's just good to be able to help where needed. And again, we do this because we love it. And that's what I do. Again, I'm more of a fan than I am the boss, as they all like to call me.
Yeah. Yeah. Shifting gears, I guess. I've heard that Fit Foods is funding some university studies or a study. Is there anything you can elaborate on that, or is that too early in the process?
Well, we can definitely elaborate. I'll mind my P's and Q's because there's some. this is advanced notice stuff, so there's nothing to talk about publicly yet. But I will tell you that, yeah, we've teamed up with a notable university. I'm not even sure if I can name the university just yet, but
Fair enough.
they know who they are. And actually, it's more than one university. So there's a lead university, and then the study we're doing is so pervasive, it's so impactful for what's going to hit uh, that I think there's 6 universities in on this participating in
Wow.
on this study. That's how big this one is. And it's important for not just bodybuilding, but for all athletes and all protein users. So there's your little
Nice.
bit of a light shining on what it's about. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges with protein and protein intake and protein use, protein uptake, protein absorbability, and so this particular study is going to focus on probably the biggest problems. And again, I won't divulge because they still have to write it all up, get it all done, and then publish it. So this is really advanced, early stuff, but it's also based on a few previous studies. And so what we're going to do is take some things that some people may be aware of, and maybe not. In fact, I know for a fact there's one or two surprises in this study format that we're doing. So some things may seem obvious to some people, but there's going to be at least one thing that's everybody missed, I think.
Okay.
So when it when it starts to manifest and starts to be its own thing, um, we'll have a first in. We'll have pretty much an exclusive on this whole thing. And again, it's because we're funding it. And that's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
If you want to advance what we're talking about when it comes to any of the products, um, science is always needed to be there. It's one thing to hypothesize. So this won't just be the promise of something. This will be the proof of something.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you see this leading into more innovations within Fit Foods, or is this something that's on a different? There you go. Yeah.
Uh, Andrew, the innovations have already begun.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. In talking with the lead researcher, and we'll get to his name in a few weeks, but in talking with the lead researcher and others in on this study, yeah, we already have enough previous data that is already there. Now we're going to take the data and hammer it home, and
Okay.
by adding one or two little other things to it. I know I'm saying in cryptic terms. We haven't clarified the timing
For
of the
sure.
study. We haven't clarified, how public this is going to become before the papers get released.
Right. Right. Okay. And now, knowing you and the team coming up, we're what are we? Just over 2 weeks out from Arnold's. Um,
Yikes.
are we expecting to see a new products going to be released at the show?
What the public will see at the show will be what the public will see at the show. Now, uh, there's also our private meeting rooms for
Hmm.
business people. So how things go, in case y'all didn't figure this out, already know it, is that before the consumers see it, typically parts of the industry get to see it. So yeah, I guess we should be saying to the whole retail and distributor network community in our industry, you might want to come see us
Nice. Might have
because
to swing by one of those meeting rooms.
there will definitely be something in the meeting room, and it itself will actually be under cloak and dagger. It's not something we're going to have out for. If
Mhm.
you wander into the room, you won't see this. You have to be in a conversation with one of us to see what we're about to unveil.
Sounds fair enough. All right.
Wow.
Um, awesome.
It's going to be, authentically speaking, it's going to change the protein game. Now that's a big statement, But
Hmm.
I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and I was around the last time the protein game changed, and that was in 1993, 1994,
Okay.
when whey protein was first introduced.
Hmm.
So before there was whey protein, it was all milk and egg protein.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, in protein shakes, that was number one. And you know, what the heck is this whey stuff? Oh, you guys are weird. What's all this science crap? You know, screw you guys. We don't want this whey thing or whey thing. And so stay tuned.
All right. Well, now with this being like the 30th anniversary, you brought in a new investor. We know we're going to see some new products, and there's a study underway. What's kind of the big thing that we don't know that's coming yet?
What do you mean you don't know? Oh my God, how many little tips and hints can I drop here? Um, Come April is when the news starts to hit,
Okay.
and then it won't stop.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. This is yeah. It's we think it's that big, and we have an exclusive arrangement on all of this. So it's not like you're going to be able to get this from every brand. You won't be able to.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're not going to gouge consumers for this either. I mean, again, I'm a consumer first and foremost myself. Um, I, I, I didn't start the business and I ended up here. Like, no, I'm a consumer. I was an injured athlete that I'd used the supplements. That's how I got into this. And so I'm still that injured athlete, if you will. I'm just now 30 years later, and we happen to have a business built around those ideals and doing these things. I'm still in the lab
Yeah.
having fun with different formulas and different absorption ways. And how do you boost that? How do you make that better? Curiosity is number one, right? So
Yeah.
you can't change the protein itself, much like you can't change your carbs or your fats.
Hmm.
But what you can do on your macros is how do you make them better?
Yes.
And especially in the face of all these prices, not just whey prices, but grocery prices.
Mhm.
And so it's how that's all going to go down. You'll start to see it in April.
All right. I like it.
Pretty
Well,
pretty daunting thing for me to say because now I put it out there and you're the first person to get all that so far. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how people respond to this. It's going to be interesting to see how parts of the industry respond. And I don't expect I frankly don't expect some people to like some of this news, but you can't dispute
yeah.
the studies, you can't dispute the research, and you can't dispute the results.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to it. So I know we'll
All this because I turned out I didn't like to go golfing as much as I thought I was gonna.
that's right.
I still like
So
doing
so we
deadlifts.
so we're gonna see you at these events for a few more years, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere. Like again, I really have a good time. Like when we were in Vegas and it's the end of the Olympia, you always have some stuff that's just kind of hanging around. And I don't know, we had like 40 shirts in a minute. So it was just one box of these extra t-shirts. And I'm just walking out there, walking out of the trade show area, walking by the front area where people gather to get into the Olympia Expo. And I'm giving away shirts. Hey man, you look like you could do with a 3X. How's this one for you? And then, hey, you look like a medium. Here, boom, here you go.
Nice.
And I remember these two guys say, hey man, you guys look like a 2X. Yeah, but we like a baggy. Okay, man, I got some 4X in here for you too. Bam.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So I get off on being able to do that even at the end of a show. Mentally you're
Hmm.
wiped, you're exhausted, but still, there's just people who, if you just don't know if that's their only time they get to go to the Olympia.
Yeah,
And
totally.
if I got 40 shirts at the end of the day to go make 40 people go, well, frick, man, thanks.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. Pay it forward in life, everybody. It's not a hard thing to go do, and that's what you should be doing. That
100%. That's right.
just give.
Well, I know I've kept you a long time. I'm sure you got some work to do.
Well, I think
So
the 2.0 version of this interview in April is going to be more interesting.
that's right. I can't wait for that one. So
Yeah.
we'll start getting to talk about that in a few weeks, I guess, in a couple months or so.
I will tell you that since we've been on, um, the doctor at that university has texted me a couple of times because I told him this morning about 5 minutes before we hopped on, you and I said, by the way, I'm doing this podcast, and he goes, oh, well, what are you talking about? Like, which details are you giving out? And da 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 da. And I'm like, well, not all of them, obviously, but th this is the start. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're excited too because again, as researchers themselves, and this researcher himself is an athlete too, by the way. So
Oh, perfect.
kind of a similar path. Athlete, um, no longer a high level competing athlete, but and now this is their jam. And so one of the head doctors at researchers at this university in this area, and yeah, he's excited as well, as are some of the other researchers because they're like, well, yeah, this is stuff we've kind of known, and yeah, there's been the promise of all of this, but now we get to put it all together and add in this other element to it, and we're going to prove this. I mean, how you don't get to prove something too often. And
Yeah.
so the proof shall be interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
actually I can't wait to talk about all this more as we get towards April because then we get to unveil not only what it is, but for those people who actually are going to understand it and use it and harness the
mhm,
power of it, I we actually have the ability to explain what this really means in terms of how much to use, what's the benefit, and and how is it going to save you time as well.
right. That's
Because
awesome.
that's another thing, especially in athletics. If you can save time, you can get more workload in, and then the more workload in is how you can
Yeah.
advance the benefit of what you're trying to achieve as well.
Very cool. Oh man, I can't wait to hear all the news about it.
All right, I'm done overhyping it. It's going to be so simple that some other people are going, "Oh, why didn't we think of that?" And I go, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, it might not be that simple, but
Yeah. Right.
but it's a very structured sequence, and there's some added newness to it as well." And so
Sweet.
we'll unveil it all in April.
Sounds good. And I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks at Arnold's.
Yep.
And for any retailers that are out there that haven't booked a meeting at the Mutant meeting rooms, I suggest you get on that pretty quick if you want to find out what's happening. So
It's the only way to find out before April.
yeah,
Okay.
awesome. Well, this is Andrew Bukowsky, Jim McMahon, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
See you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye, everybody.